Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. This is just a short introduction to my new Patreon site, the formation of my new Patreon site, which is where you can now go to visit, to view my extended video versions of my new series of tarot and oracle deck unboxing and reviews. So the way my Patreon site has been set up is that it is a place for my diehard supporters, my subscribers and viewers who want to get deeper messages or extended videos of some of my readings. I'm going to put more detail into the Patreon site, into the videos of the Patreon site, for those of you who'd like to get more information out of some of the monthly readings and mid-monthly readings. In addition, I will have the extended versions of all the new unboxing and reviewing videos that I'm going to be doing as part of my new series. And also, that is where I will be choosing the person who receives these decks each month. All of my decks that I'm unboxing and reviewing will be given away each month to at random to one of my members on the Patreon site. Now, my membership is going to be one fee and one fee only, and that is $1 a month. I've decided to make it $1 a month because one of my philosophies is that as a whole, as a group, as a coalition, a tribe, a nation of like-minded people, there are ways where we can all support each other in a meaningful way and in an accessible way. I don't want any of my channels or any of my readings or material to be inaccessible to anyone. I want anybody to be able to view it and make use of it. At the same time, I need to also have enough coming in so that I can continue to purchase these decks and give them away. And I felt that the nominal charge of $1 a month is a perfect balance for that, because with enough subscribers at that rate, I can still continue to buy these decks and give these decks out. And of course, as more members sign up, I will then be doing more reviews each month to give away. So we're going to start the giveaway this month with the Dreams of Gaia Tarot deck, which is a beautiful deck I've known for quite some time. I thought it would be a perfect deck to start off with, and this will be the deck that is given away this month. The giveaways will be decided on the full moon of each month, and it will be done at random from my member list on my Patreon site. So this coming month is August, and the full moon is August 15th. So August 15th, I will make a random decision on who gets this deck, and they'll be getting that sent out to them right away. If between now and then I have a lot of members sign up, enough so that I can continue to get, I can start to get more decks, then I'll get more decks to review, and then we will just have more decks to give away on that day of the full moon. Alright, so this is just a short announcement about some of the changes and some of the things I'm trying to do to provide even more for you guys, and something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. So without further ado, I'm just going to pass you on to either your regular video or the unboxing of this Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Thank you for watching this announcement. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot. So today I would like to welcome you to my first of a series that I have been planning to do for my channel since the day I started my channel, and I'm glad the time has now come. I've always wanted to do a series of tarot and oracle deck unboxing, okay? And reviews, unboxing and reviews, to show you what the decks are like, to go through the cards with you, to do a really in-depth look at various decks out there. Tarot decks and oracle decks are very expensive. They can be very expensive. They can range from anywhere from $17, $18, $19 all the way up to $60 and $70. And then there are some that are vintage or collector's items, and those can even be hundreds of dollars. So I will also be doing a series looking at the Doreen Virtue decks and looking at what happened to Doreen Virtue. So stay tuned for that, because a lot of her decks are now no longer in print, and there's a whole story behind that as well. But for right now, today we're going to get right into this tarot deck that I have been looking at for quite some time. And it's the Dreams of Gaia Tarot deck. All right. And as you can see, we are going to look, for the very beginning. It's got the plastic still on it. This deck cost me $36.95 plus tax. Once the tax came on, it was approximately $40 for the deck. Now, this was at a local shop that sells kind of sort of, new agey stuff, esoteric things, books, religious books, and tarot decks, crystals and things like that. But you can also get it online, and I will also put a link down in the description to where you can get this, to multiple choices, actually options. There's a couple places where you can buy this deck, all right? But for right now, we're gonna get right into this unboxing. Now, as you know, or you may not know from the intro video that I've put on here, I'm going to be giving this box away, all right? And in order to be eligible to get this box, you have to go over to my Patreon site and just join my Patreon site. It's only 99 cents a month to be a member. And I found that that's really all it needs, 99 cents per person with enough membership. And I can start to do more and more of these readings and these unboxings, right? And reviews for you. And I'd like to be able to give out more tarot decks each month. Right now, we only have this one for the next month. But depending on how many people join my Patreon site, if I have enough subscribers or enough membership on that site, I will certainly run right out and get a couple more tarot decks or oracle decks and review those as well. All right. So let's take off the plastic. So it's just run-of-the-mill usual, right? Plastic wrapping, just to make sure it's come from the printers, intact. So this is I want to see a Blue Angel Publishing. So that's the first thing I looked. This is Blue Angel Publishing. They actually have an online site, www.blueangelonline.com. The name of the deck again is Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Let me hold this in such a way so there's no glare, okay? And you can see at the bottom, I believe the name of the person who's created this deck is Raven Phelan. All right, I believe that's how you pronounce that last name, is Phelan, Raven Phelan, okay? So it's beautiful. It's a really gorgeous deck. I have seen this deck before, and so that's why I picked this one to be the first one, because it is absolutely beautiful. Just the artwork on the front, it's just kind of breathtaking. It seems to have a series of crows and eagles. Let me see if I can get that real close, if you can see. Isn't that just beautiful? Up close, right? So there's these four, I believe those are crows. Right, an eagle. Then you have the pentacle at the center. All right, again, another eagle at the crown. It's just really indicative of a lot of symbology, right? A lot of archetypes, right? It seems to be quite traditional archetypes in this deck, right? But we'll see. We're going to go through the entire deck. Now, also, as part of the Patreon site, the extended review of this deck will be on that site, okay? So that site will also have like my extended videos. That site won't have anything that you can't already see on YouTube, but it will be the more in-depth description. So we will do a full review of the deck, but then when I go through each and every card and read the descriptions and go through some of the meanings more in depth, that will be on the Patreon video, all right? So first thing when you unbox, there's a piece of paper. All right, and we have the deck inside. We have the book that comes with it. It's fairly substantial, beautiful book. It's quite heavy. It's not like your usual little pamphlet, right? That comes to seek. On the back it says, to seek, to feel, to grow, to heal, right? Blue Angel Publishers. Beautiful. It's really beautiful artwork. I like it because it's this matte finish. You can tell it's not a glossy finish. It's like a matte finish book. It's really nice. It feels really nice. It has the same motif on it as the box. If we just look inside, cursory. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So she has the book dedicated for my children, Zach and Jenna. You are my light and my greatest teacher. So that's quite beautiful. All right. I don't want to handle the book too much because I am giving this away. All right. So I'm just going to go through it just a little bit. And just not try to bend the spine too much. It's beautiful. It's beautifully set up. It has the major arcana, if you can see there. It has the major arcana. And then it also lists the suits by elemental. Okay, so elemental earth, elemental air. These are alchemical symbols for the element, right? So we have earth, air, fire, and water. And I appreciate that because that's just a little bit of extra information that oftentimes books don't have. There's a few words from the author, and then there's acknowledgments. So there's an introduction, all right, as well. It seems to be that Dreams of Gaia, I'm just going to read the first paragraph, right? Dreams of Gaia Tarot is for those who desire unity within themselves, their relationships, and with heaven and earth. It is for those who wish to explore and develop a keener understanding of self, as well as those who seek to commune with the spirit realms and the divine. The philosophy of the cards is simple: to seek, to feel, to grow, and to heal. So that seems to be the ethos or the model, obviously the philosophy, as it says clearly, of the deck and the creator of the deck. She has a few paragraphs here about seek, feel, grow, and heal. Interestingly enough, the paragraphs seem to indicate connections to various cards, various aspects of the card. It's quite interesting. We will come back to that in a moment. All right. It then goes on to talk about the tarot, how to get started, your inner voice, how to ask questions, perform regular reading. Tarot as a mirror, keeping a tarot journal, devote time to reading after the question has been asked. So just general advice on how to read tarot, how to engage upon learning the craft, because tarot reading is in fact a craft, right? So there are a lot of readers out there who will say that they only use the tarot deck because they are channeling, or because they are psychic, or because they have their own messages. That is separate from being a tarot reader, right? So that is someone who's a psychic, right, or a clairvoyant. And sometimes that can be the case, that they then oftentimes will use a deck simply because, simply somehow, I guess, to relate to the imagery and to help them sort of formulate their visions, etc. But that is distinctly different than learning the craft of reading tarot, because for that you have to, you don't just assign your own intuitive interpretation to the meanings. The meanings are very traditional and are understood. They're agreed upon. There are very set meanings to very set symbols in tarot cards, to the arrangements, to the colors, etc. So learning the craft of tarot is learning those symbols. Now, when you get into the intuitive in reading, that intuitive part of the reading is when those symbols and their meanings jump out at you and you begin to form a picture of what's happening. But this is not to say that you form a picture first in your mind based on whatever messages you're getting, and then you somehow apply that to the tarot and disseminate it through the tarot, which is a sort of kind of backwards way, if you know what I'm saying. So that's just a different way of using cards. And I don't say any way is right or wrong, but I just say that that is a distinction you have to know when you're seeking readers, right? Are they simply psychic, clairvoyant, intuitive readers? that are coming up with a picture, or are they really reading the tarot? And if they're reading the tarot, how long have they studied the tarot to truly understand the symbols on the decks? So here we go. And here we have the deck structure, the major arcana, the choice cards, stages of life, reason for being. So this creator has a philosophy that is quite along the lines of the traditional, right? Stages of life and reasons for being. These are all quite traditional. Knowledge, wisdom, healing, love, union, self, abundance, and destiny. Influences, keywords, key phrases, and card meanings. All right, so interesting. It has a few spreads, a few guides. The purpose of the Dreamer spread, and it tells you what all the cards are, the placements. It's quite interesting. It's a really unique kind of book. It seems to be quite thorough, in terms of getting you started. If you're a beginner, all right. This is for someone who's like beginning to read, and the deck can be for anybody who's reading, no matter how experienced they are. But what I'm saying is that if you are a beginner, if this is the first time you're dealing with tarot, this will be a good book for you, because it has quite a layman's terms setup, how to get started. You can get started quite quickly, beginning to understand the nature of reading the tarot. And then it goes through with each page having the meanings of the card, key phrases. That's quite interesting. Keywords, key phrases, meaning, and then there's also association with time. So in this book, she describes what it may mean if you are reading for the past. You see that? Or the present down at the bottom. And I imagine she then has the future, right? So there you go. She has the future on the next page. And then she has a description of potential blockage. So this is what I mean. This is a very thorough book about the tarot. Now, I'm not going to go into the actual details of each card here on this video. I will go into more details of the card and read some of the meanings out of the book for you in the Patreon video. But just so you know, there's plenty of information about everything here, about all of the cards, and then it goes through with same thing, 2 pages, maybe not as long, so it only has 2 pages for all of the minor arcana cards. All right, then at the end of the book, let's see what we have at the end. And it's just a few words from the author, acknowledgments, and then that's it. And then a few other pages on other tarot decks that are available, I assume, from Blue Angel. All right, so I know this deck is going to be given out. However, we're going to just slide them through this plastic. I'm going to see if I can just get them through the plastic without having to rip the plastic. I don't know if I'll be able to get them back in, but it may have to do. Let's just see. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm not going to mix the cards at all, but I will tell you how I think they feel. Let's move this up a bit. We'll keep all of the bits and pieces together. All right, and keep that right there. Let's see, maybe we can put this. Now you won't be able to see it, so I'll just leave it right there like that. All right, so Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And then here we go. Let's go through. Now, the book, we'll put it right here. And let's see for a second. Let me just feel what the deck is like, what the cards are like. It's quite interesting. They're quite flexible. Right, so I know this is going to be quite a nice deck to shuffle. It's going to be quite easy for you to shuffle it. Interesting, it's not as flexible this way. So I have another deck. I'm going to show you another deck that I have that's similar, so that I don't have to mix this deck to show you. This deck is my my Soul Rebel Oracle deck. Excuse me, Sacred Rebel Oracle deck. There's a Soul Rebel, but this is the Sacred Rebel. All right. And it's the same. If you see, it's quite flexible this way, right? But if you turn it this way, it's like, you see what I mean? It's really quite inflexible. And so what you get when you shuffle, you get this sort of feeling where it's like really easy to shuffle them this way, right? And so with these thick decks like this, that can be quite nice. Because shuffling, being able to shuffle cards is really, has a lot to do with how comfortable you feel with them. They shouldn't feel awkward in your hands or too difficult to shuffle. Now, if I try to shuffle this way, I don't get that bend because they don't really bend so much. So then when I shuffle this way, it's a kind of a straight shuffle, if you know what I mean, right? Or then this way, they actually bend. Isn't that interesting? So I think they're starting to make decks like this. I think they last longer. It certainly seems to be out of the same type of material. It's a shiny deck. You can see the shininess there. So it's not a matte deck at all, right? There's definitely a gloss to these. Let's see if I can just really show you up close. You see what I mean? There's really a gloss, and there's a gloss to both sides. And this one, oh, King of Water. Look at that card. Wow. That is so beautiful. All right, we're gonna go through all the cards. Let me just turn them over. We can turn them over now and at least look at the first card, which is Choice. The artwork on this deck is breathtaking, if I say so myself. All right, it is absolutely breathtaking. All right, so let me see if I can get this centered a bit. All right, so very similar then to this deck in terms of, I want to say in terms of shuffling style, shuffling feel, right? I already know that even if I don't shuffle, see what I mean? Even if I were to shuffle it, it's quite, yeah, so it's very comfortable. This deck is quite comfortable. This deck is not gonna fray on you, all right? So, because it's like sealed, this plastic is quite sealed, so it's not gonna fray on you at all. Really, really well made. So let's just quickly go through the cards. All right, now we're gonna get into the cards. I'm just gonna go one by one and show you each card up close so you can have a moment to look at it with the name and the number associated, okay? Remember that this deck is not traditional, right? This deck is along the lines of a pagan tradition deck. And so the numbering is going to be very different to what you're used to on a traditional Rider-Waite deck. All right. And so, yeah, if you are familiar with the pagan tradition, then you will understand the choice of numbering and you will understand how it is associated with the meanings of the cards, right? However, just like with other decks, there is a major arcana and there is a minor arcana and there are the 4 elemental suits. Okay, so let's just go through the major arcana one by one. All right, so we have Choice. Move this over so you can, there you go, see it without a glare, right? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful card. 0. And of course, the book has all of the meanings in detail. Number 1 is the child. Get up close so you can see how beautiful this card is. Really gorgeous. She has a little hummingbird there, I believe, with her. Beautiful energy. Hummingbird is very positive energy, right? And then, of course, you have the rose. These are all very typical symbols to do with Celtic tradition, pagan tradition, witchcraft as well. The rose is the flower for the cabbage tradition of witchcraft. It's quite interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Raven Phelan is part of that tradition. Okay, next is we have the Maiden, number 2. Again, very beautiful, more roses, right? Floral and fauna is everywhere. Right, let's see how close can we be. Here we go. Beautiful card, right? You know, you have the butterfly there to indicate transformation. The roses there. Beautiful coloring. Just very, very well illustrated. Now we have the youth. Right, he's there. Beautiful. A wolf and a youth. His staff. Just really. And It's really, you can't really, unless you get really up close. I'm trying to get as close as possible, and then I'll show you the whole deck. But you really have to get up close to understand. And when you see these in person, you'll understand what I mean about how beautiful and refined the illustration is. Just really, really gorgeous. So that's the youth. All right, next we have number 4, which would traditionally be the emperor. This is the mother instead. Beautiful. She's pregnant. There you go. And you have the tortoise there. Pentacle. Right? And again, oak tree behind her indicated by the leaves. So again, oak trees are very auspicious and revered in this tradition. It's quite beautiful. Anyone who is into that, who follows the pagan belief system, I think they would really enjoy these cards. The father, number 5, normally would be the Hierophant. In the traditional, we have the father here, indicating, of course, you know, he has horns to indicate leadership. Right. He has a, well, I want to say a cougar, a bobcat, a mountain cat, right? So he's a mountain man. He's a mountain cat with him to indicate, you know, the bravery, the strength, right? Interesting. Then we have the crone. Crone, right? So, but some of the symbolism here is quite interesting. You have a doorway there on the side. Right, with the moon to indicate that that is the galaxy, or the, you know, the solar system, universe, right? So this indicates astral travel, which is something that is practiced in this tradition, and it is required by higher level pagans to have undergone this and be able to do it on a regular basis as part of their training and healing. It's something that traditional Celtic, or I want to say Cabbage tradition witches are required to do in alpha state. So all of this kind of imagery shows you how this crone is a high level practitioner, so she must have a certain amount of knowledge and understanding. And so obviously you'll get into all of that in the meanings of the book, but that's just a cursory look at some of the imagery there. So you can already see how much you can pick up from a card just by knowing some of the you know, some of the information or some of the background, the symbology, what the traditional archetypes are. Here we have number 7, the sage. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Look at this card, it's gorgeous. Look at the coloring. When you get up close, you can see how beautiful that purple coloring is. Right? It's got the wolf and the owl, also two traditional animals. Always with the oak tree. Interesting, so beautiful. And with the Celtic knot behind. Then we have 8 in this deck is Death and Rebirth. Now, this card is another one I have to get very close to show you that there is a beautiful little baby inside that card. Excuse me, inside that egg. But it's so brilliant, right? It's so shining. But of course, in the picture, it's hard to see, right? Unless I bring it up really close, right? If you were, that's because of the flashlight. If you were to have, here, let me see if I can, if I do this, can you see it better? Yeah, see? Now you can see that it's, you will be able to see it if you have it in front of your eyes, right? It's just that, let me see if I do it this way. Nope, sorry. All right, but up close you can see it's just so pretty. I want to make sure that you can. And the snake is there protecting, right? Protecting. And again, we have the frog there again. So the frog, interestingly enough, the frog seems to be in quite a lot of these cards. I wonder what significance that may hold. And then we have knowledge, which is number 9. All right, knowledge. Now this is not an oak tree, this is an asp. It's quite interesting that the tree has changed now, but I'm quite sure that is from the asp family. And okay, also asp trees are traditionally, in that tradition as well, they have a certain meaning to do, I believe, to do with healing. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it is to do with healing, so that would be quite interesting. And there's a lot of other motifs here that you can study with the card, so that when you pull this card, you can really get a nice picture of what is supposed to come through as far as interpretation. 10, we have wisdom. Okay, so again, another sage sort of character covered with the pelt of a bear, which is also indicates animal spirit bear is wisdom coming out of a slumber and into an awakening, a spiritual awakening. This is self-realization. Okay. And interestingly enough, here we have a maple tree behind. And so this is something you want to pay attention to. There's also, I believe that's ivy. I'm not sure. There may be ivy at the bottom growing. You want to pay attention with a deck that is a pagan traditional deck. You want to make sure to pay attention to the floral and fauna, right? So you want to pay attention to the type of trees that are indicated and flowers that are indicated, because they all have very specific meanings in this tradition. There's ivy, there's poison ivy, there's maple, there's oak, there's rose, there's apple trees as well that are highly significant. So you want to be aware of these types of meanings, so that when you pull these cards, you really get an in-depth understanding of what the card is trying to tell you, right? So 11, we have healing, and again we go back to this asp, I believe asp family tree. Again, you have the frog, Celtic knot, and the pentacle. Right, let's get up close and see. There you go. He's got his mojo bags around his neck and his waist. He's got all his little amulets, etc., etc. So this is a healer, a shaman, as it were, right? And you can see the feathers there, the turkey feathers, which are also traditional in American Indian healing, or Native American healing, whichever way you want to call it, right? He's got some things there hanging off of his antlers. I believe those are crystals. So all of these like little things, really beautiful card, and tell you all different things to the card, can indicate more to your interpretation. So 11, we have love, just pure love, beautiful. So a card here just dedicated to love. The major arcana, look at this. She has wings, right? So indicating a feeling of reaching the divine, right? Being closer to divine. Beautiful card. We have butterflies, flowers, again, a crown of wood, branches. Beautiful. Then we have 13, which is union. Interesting, here we have union, and the first thing that strikes me here is the coloring. It's quite beautiful. Seems to indicate an alchemy of sorts, right? We have the third eye, or the eye of Horus. I would say this would be more the third eye. Although there is some Egyptian theology mixed in with the Celtic tradition, there isn't a huge amount, but there is. In fact, there is a little known connection between Scotland and Egypt, ancient Egypt, but that's for another video. Okay, so you have the eagle as well, and the wolf at the bottom, another Celtic knot, the infinity knot. I believe the triangular knots are considered infinity knots. Beautiful, beautiful. Horns, right, indicate, again, the nature, you know, giving homage to Mother Earth, right? We have, again, down at the bottom, you have all different sorts of leaves. You have oak tree leaves, and I believe, again, asp tree leaves. Could be birch tree. I'm not familiar with that tree leaf shape per se. I believe it's part of the asp family, but I could be wrong. 14 is self. Okay, so here we go. Again, beautiful. Now we get into self-transformation as well, in a way, right? We have the dragon there, which is also indicative of guarding precious things, right? You are precious. The self is precious. We have roses again and white doves. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Abundance is next, which is 15. Beautiful. And again, we have the dragon, because the dragon is associated with abundance. What does the dragon love to do? Collect gold, hoard gold, roll in gold, literally. And so the dragon has always been associated in traditional pagan religion or theology with abundance coming in, right? We have a cornucopia of fruit there. The figure, look at the beautiful gold color and the beautiful purple. What is she holding there in her hand? I think she has a little, she has a little nest with little birds, I believe, right? You can see that little nest with birds. Beautiful. It's an abundance and, you know, a connection. And there she has, again, ivy, just all in her hair and around her, just to indicate that connection. Beautiful, beautiful card. Next card is Destiny. This is the motif from the box. From the actual front cover of the book as well. It's beautiful. So different from the cover of the book, which has this motif at the bottom, right? Here we have an altar at the bottom of the deck. Right? And what is that little? You can look closer there. Again, I believe it's the cosmic egg with the serpent wrapped around, to indicate, again, the cycle of death and rebirth, reincarnation, the idea of destiny, that we all have a certain destiny. It's quite beautiful card, just gorgeous, gorgeous card. You know, you get up close to that face, it's just so well done, all right? Beautiful. Okay, the next one is 17, which is a journey. So this is a journeyman, again. Of course, you're going to get into the book, and I love the book, quite honestly. Just flipping through it is very thorough. The meanings are quite thoroughly explained, and it's one of those books. I believe this is one of these decks that you could work with for quite a long time. You could work with this deck for years, really, studying the meanings and always referring back to the book if you're starting out, but not even if you're not starting out. But if you are already a pagan or a witch practicing witchcraft, etc., right, or part of the Celtic tradition, what have you, right, then this deck is going to speak to you, right? But still, I believe the book has a lot to offer, you know, and I think that it's always good when you have a good creator, a creator who really also understands the tarot in depth and provides you such a deep, an in-depth explanation as to how they see the archetypes. And of course, they're going to be traditionally pagan archetypes, right? But it's always good when you have somebody who's able to give you a thorough kind of description that you can always, it's always good to go back to that and to remind yourself. I have an Aleister Crowley book, The Mirror of the Soul, which I've been going back to and reading over the years. You know, and I continue to go back and read it at times, and I always continue to find something again because the wording is so specific to get that one idea in your head, right? The words have to be very specific, and so that's why we have gifted writers out there and creators that make this happen. So 18 is thought. Beautiful card again. I love the fact there are a lot of female characters in this deck. Of course, Gaia is the mother goddess of Earth, Earth goddess. And she is a female. There's no doubt about that. And so the pagan tradition is highly, I don't want to say prejudicial, but, you know, women are considered, you know, the matriarchs, right? The leaders in that tradition. Beautiful thought. Again, indicating alchemy here. We have two different colors, almost a cauldron, one indicating the mixing of two types of energies to produce a third energy, which is really what alchemy is all about. All right, and here we have 19, emotions. Right, 19 is traditionally the sun card. Beautiful, right? Sword, and there's a couple of things going on here, right? There's a couple, you know, couple images that evoke a certain sense of feeling, right? It's quite interesting. So this would normally be the sun card. It does have a sun kind of coloring to it, right, and feel, but I wonder if, I think that in a lot of these, there's a little bit inherently connected to the traditional. I don't think they're completely opposite from whatever the traditional card is, because the Sun card in the traditional deck does have a lot of indications. It's about emotions, right, and how you feel and feeling good, right. It's just a certain slant on it here in this deck, which is slightly different. It's just a different take on it. All right, and then we have 20, desire. Normally will be judgment in a traditional deck. Interesting, right? Beautiful. Desire. Look at all of that. Again, when you get up close, you can see really the coloring is quite beautiful. Some of you may see my cat in the side of the picture on the floor. She just can't stay away. All right, we have here perceptions 21. Which would normally be the universe or the world card in the traditional deck, 21. Perception, wow. Look at this, look at her face, it's like, let me see if I can get close up. See that? This mask with the third eye. The mask is like an eagle mask. So beautiful. It has like this phoenix quality to it as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. God, I'm considering getting myself this deck just to have it for the artwork because I do love it so much. The next card, and it's got more major arcana cards than in a traditional deck, which is interesting. We're on 22 now, which is intuition. Right, so we have the cat and the owl again, more familiars. We have at the bottom spider as well, which can be another familiar for witches, interestingly enough. Beautiful card. Look up close. She's holding something in her hand as well, which I can't quite tell. That would be, I believe it's a snake coiled around an egg again, probably the black egg, which is associated with a certain chakra. But that would be indicated in the book. Then we have 23, which is integrity. Wow, look at that. The leopard, the owl. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. And the woman, she's just bare, right? So she's able to lay herself bare. I mean, that's the nature of integrity. To have so much integrity, you simply have nothing to hide. And here we go. Now we have the last of the major arcana. So with this deck, we have 24 plus the 0. So we have 25 major arcana cards. 24 here is faith. So completely different numbering than the traditional deck that only has 22, I'm sorry. Alright, so here we have the tree, the stork, the wolf, the flower, right? I believe that might even be that looks like a calendula flower almost. Could be marigold. There's certain flowers, again, different flowers have different meanings, right? And then we have the eye, third eye, energy, beautiful. And on the back of the turtle, which is, some of you may or may not know that there is this belief that we are all living in this existence, right? That our existence is just a world that is on top of the back of this enormous turtle, which is, I guess, the size of the ever-expanding universe. But, it's not necessarily a real concept. It's more like a concept that's meant for you to open up your perception and to question your limited perception. It's not to necessarily say that that is absolutely true, but we don't know if it's absolutely not true, right? So it's an exercise in thought. A lot of those types of things are exercises in thought. And people who take them literally and get all bent out of shape, you need to understand it's just an exercise in thought. Okay, so now we're just going to go quickly through the minor arcana cards. So this is, at the bottom you can see this is the alchemical symbol for earth, which is the upside down triangle with the line through it. And so we have the ace of what would normally be earth or pentacles. We have the 2 of pentacles. We have the 3 of earth or pentacles again. Earth sign, beautiful. Everything's quite green. All very earthy elements. We have the 4, the B, interesting. Wow, the imagery is really interesting. We have the 5 here. with the cards, the divination cards, so it could indicate, because normally the 5 is to do with the Hierophant. Interesting. And we have the 6 here. Look at that, beautiful. 6 of Earth. Then we have the 7. 8. 9. And 10. Right? And here we have, all right, let's get into the next, oh, more, 11. Interesting, 11, 12. Okay, so 11. Heaven and Earth, still Earth. The 11. Then we have the Seneschal, 7. This is a traditional Celtic story theme. The Seneschal, I believe it is a Celtic story, right? Or lore, you will call lore, right? Mythology, right? The 13, the Queen of Earth. Yeah, it's 13. So now we have our first Queen. And then we have King of Earth. Right? That's the King of Earth, or King of Pentacles, right? So now, I know the colors look quite bright here, but if I get it up close, you can see how green. It's actually quite dark green. It's just because of my flashlight, right? So it is quite, like if I pull it away, you can see how dark that is. So it is quite dark. The green is quite dark, right? But I have to bring it up close for you to see. So you see when it gets up close, it just lightens up. It's not quite that light. It's actually much more brilliant brown in real life. So interestingly enough, we have from the first Earth, we have Heaven and Earth as the Seneschal, which would normally be the Page and the Knight, right? Or the Princess and the Knight. Okay, so it's a different, again, the court cards are different. So here we go, we have air. All right, let's get into air. So the first one is Ace of Air. We have a sword. Interestingly, we have a sword. You see the sword there? So that's the homage to the swords card, right? Because this would normally be the swords card, right? Swords suit. So we have 2 of swords or air. So it's normally that land of indecision. 3 of swords. 4 of air or swords. Isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. 5. We have 5 of swords. Interesting, right? Interesting illustration there. 6 of swords. Again, air aspect. 6 of air or swords, elemental air. Beautiful. Rainbow coloring there. Very brilliant in real life. Then we have 7 of air. 8 of air. 9 of air. Gorgeous. And 10 of air. So I like the fact that the ethnicity of the individuals is quite diverse, right? So you can tell there's all kinds of ethnicities going on. I really like that and I appreciate that. And again, so before we had for the first, interestingly enough, for the first minor, okay, here we go. Heaven and Earth. So for the first of the court cards, which would normally be the Page, remember we saw Heaven and Earth, right? And then we saw the Seneschal, which is a Celtic traditional story or lore. Here with the air suit, we have the first, which would normally be the Page or the Princess, we have body and mind. So this is very consistent with the element of air. And then we have the Scribe, again, which is another traditional Celtic story. So I wonder if the knights don't come with a story. This can indicate a message, right? So that may be the connection with the whole feeling of night energy. right? Because knights come in with a message, with a teaching, with a helping hand, and stories can often be that. And then, of course, here we go. Beautiful Queen of Air. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous card. And then we have King of Air. Beautiful. What I like about this deck also is it will get you into the habit of knowing what the alchemical symbols are, which is just another symbol to understand and to know automatically, so that, you know, when it is around or used, it jumps out, and it can also give you more information about what you're trying, about the message you're trying to receive or interpret. So here we go right into fire. This is the alchemical symbol for fire, which is the point, straight up triangle, no lines, and this is the Ace of Fire or Wands, and it is gorgeous. Gorgeous card. Very, very orange yellow in real life, if you can see that. Just beautiful. Look at that. Much deeper and richer than you can tell on the video, and the same with this card. Beautiful. This is the Two of Wands. Three of Wands. We have Four of Wands. Beautiful. I just love this. We have Five of Wands. Power struggle. Look at that. Oof. Shoot. I wouldn't mind somebody having that kind of power struggle in front of me. All right. Okay, Six of Wands. Seven of Wands or fire again. Beautiful. Again, my camera doesn't do justice to the coloring, I must say. I mean, in real life, the coloring is just so much more vivid. Eight of Wands. All right, Nine of Wands. Interesting, interesting. And 10 of Wands. Beautiful. All right, and so with this four suits, we begin with what would normally be the page. Here we have 11, and it's masculine, feminine. And so before we had mind and body, and we had heaven and earth, I believe, and now we have masculine and feminine. So it's quite beautiful, and we have the story of the hero. And so again, another traditional Celtic story or theme, and then we have the beautiful, gorgeous Queen of Fire with that little cat there that is just so cute and beautiful. Look at that. Peacock feathers. Oh, gosh. You know, third eye energy, and then, of course, more of the same with King of Fire, and he now has the lion there. Really gorgeous, gorgeous card. Very nice. And let's get into the water. Right? So now we have Ace of Water. Of course, upside down triangles, alchemical symbol for water. So we have Ace of Water. And I noticed that all of the aces are dragons of some sort. So we have like a dragon, a green dragon, a red dragon, a blue dragon, and a white dragon, kind of light crystally dragon for the air sign. It's quite beautiful. Two of Water. Beautiful. Look at these two people embracing. Beautiful love energy. And we have Three of Water. Gorgeous. Four. Five of Water, or cups, right? So this is cups. Six of Water, or cups, right? Seven. Beautiful koi fish there. We have Eight of Cups. Wow, the dolphins, healing energy. Nine of Cups. Wow. And we have 10 of Cups. this one, the page is represented as emotion and intellect. Interesting. Then we have the counselor. Right. Another part of the tradition. Again, either a traditional story or theme, right, that is taught in pagan theology. The Queen of Water, beautiful, beautiful coloring. Oh, some of these would make great tattoos, honestly. And then the King of Water, finally. And this is the last of the minor arcana. So, you've now seen all the cards, you've seen the book, it's very beautiful. If you would like to see an in-depth look at this deck, then just follow me on Patreon. If you would like to have a chance to win the deck, this deck is going to be handed out to, it's going to be handed out at random. Someone at random will be chosen from all of my members over on Patreon to receive this deck sometime. I will be making probably the choice on the day of the full moon in August. I decided to just make it simple. Every full moon is the day when I will randomly choose one of my members on Patreon to receive this deck. Alright, I will not shuffle or handle the deck any more than what you see in the videos. And in the Patreon video, we're going to go in depth a bit more into some of these cards and the imagery. I may read a couple of the descriptions out of the book so you can get a flavor for the theology that's being used with this deck. And just a few more extra bits. Yeah, more information about the deck. But for right now, I just want to say thank you for watching this unboxing and review of the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. See you next time.